Here's a weird but complicated thing to think about. Reading a book on the subway. You're not really reading the book, are you? Okay, answer that again, but truthfully this time. You are not reading a book on the subway. Stop lying. There's no way you're reading a book in the subway, because in the subway you have to be holding onto your purse and holding onto your belongings and make sure your pockets are not getting touched. You're telling me you're doing all that and deep into the book at the same time when you're probably gonna get off in 5 minutes. That book is an accessory. But when someone really does have a hobby like this, it always feels like they're just doing it to show and prove to everyone that they have a hobby, and they only can do it when there's people watching. Okay, just reading my book right now. Any cute girls watching? No? I'll put the book away then. If you really do this, you want people to come up to you and say, wow, I really love that book. Let's talk about it. A good example of something like this is that trend that was going around earlier this year of people posting on TikTok with that sound, you need to nerd out, and then it will show their nerdy niche interests.
You need to nerd out.
Superman, really Superman, your niche nerdy interest. My grandma, who doesn't know a word of English, is in love with Superman.
Need to nerd out.
It's okay to be nerdy, guys. One problem, this stuff is not nerdy or even niche at all. Taco Bell, Target, grocery shopping is an interest now. I've been watching the show Pluribus recently. Very good, by the way. I'm enjoying that so much. It kind of reminds me of real life a lot. And in the first episode, it shows Carol signing some books for her fans. Fans all laugh at the same time, admire every little thing she says with all the same smile, which Carol finds annoying. She's the only different one. And when the entire world becomes a hive mind, it's actually almost the same thing. She's still the only one that's different. She's the only one not like everyone else. Not much has changed. And that honestly reminds me of real life and a lot of the interests people have. Yeah, I find it weird that you collect different types of rocks, but let me just go back to watching Netflix. There's been a grindification of hobbies recently, and I hate to use that video essay word of just adding ification at the end of a word and just being to know what you're talking about. One of the main reasons I think that people don't have hobbies anymore is the grindification of hobbies. Our culture today just made it feel like if we're not making an income out of our hobby or on getting something out of it, it just means it's a waste of time. You can't just paint, you have to become the best painter of your generation. You can't just skateboard, you have to film all your tricks and they all have to go viral on TikTok. Otherwise, why are you doing it? Hobbies became performances for other people to see and not even just for your own well-being anymore. Hobbies were the only aspects of our lives where we didn't have to be perfect at something. We didn't have to be the best there is. You could even be bad at it. Now comparing ourselves to others and trying to be the best at it killed the joy. Oh, sorry, my rock collection isn't making 10K a month in profit, sorry. I think it died when documenting the hobby became more important than the hobby itself. Filming and posting on TikTok became the priority. Don't make your hobby a job. It doesn't have to be a job because you'll just end up hating it. Do you know most people you speak to probably don't have a hobby? And I know that's hard to believe, but it's true. You're probably thinking, no, I have a hobby, I like watching Netflix. Oh, no. What you're doing right now is not a hobby. It's not. Oh, watching Netflix is your favorite hobby? Right next to what? Consuming food? There's been multiple instances where I asked people about their hobbies and they genuinely didn't know what to say. Even 400 years ago, there was probably some monk who lived in a mountain with no one else to contact, and he at least drew faces into stones sometimes. So let's talk about why it's so hard to find a hobby and why most people don't really even have a hobby. Unless you already started looking for another video to watch, so in that case, please stay. It's good to keep in mind that it is difficult to start a new hobby. You could start a hobby and then see another hobby that someone else has the next day and you think, damn, that would have been a better hobby for me to start. Why didn't I think of that yesterday? And then you'd go start that hobby. You'd see better stuff after that as well. Could have seen someone outside skateboarding and thought, damn, that's so much better than the hobby I picked. Oh, I wish I skateboarding instead. And then you go pick up skateboarding, and then while you're skateboarding, you see someone roller skating and think, damn, I'm really glad I didn't pick that hobby. There isn't a right choice or wrong choice with the hobby. It's just your choice. You want to finger paint? Go ahead. Problem is we lack creativity. I see so many people online talking about how it's so difficult for them to find a hobby that they enjoy and they end up just quitting after a week. I researched what type of hobbies people had back in the 1800s, and it was mostly just reading or going on walks or listening to music, because back then music actually was a hobby. It wasn't just put your AirPods in and press play like today. But also stuff like horse racing, which I know had a lot of match fixing. But hobbies back then were also mostly for the upper class because they could actually afford to use their time with something that they might enjoy. Upper class hobbies back then included backgammon, chess, opera, traveling a lot. I think everyone else was just sweeping chimneys. I'm pretty sure there was 5-year-olds sweeping chimneys. But a real hobby for lower class as people back then was watching boxing fights in really sketchy alleyways. And another hobby for lower class people back then were public executions, which is fun. Yeah, public execution. That was a real kicker for them. Oh my god, the way his neck broke was insane. And hey, at least it was a real hobby, and you can't say that wasn't fun for them. But hey, if you're finding it difficult to find a new hobby, think about something you used to do as a kid. Chances are you're still gonna find it fun today. Something I used to do a lot as a kid was me and my siblings used to do these type of role-playing type of games. Each of us would have a character. We'd completely act out whole scenes as different characters, which was really fun. I'd sometimes do method acting and take my character with me everywhere and act completely different, and I'm pretty sure my parents thought something was wrong up here. I can lucky bring this hobby back today because there's something called Dungeons and Dragons, and I've never played D&D in my life, but it's a lot like what I used to do. I saw a video recently of Deborah Ann Wool explaining the rules of Dungeons and Dragons and how it works to John Benthal, and she put the rules of D&D so perfectly. I've never played D&D in my life or ever thought of playing this game, but the way she put it made it actually sound very fun.
Yeah, it's just a collaborative storytelling with some characters.
And you tell the story?
Yeah, I'm a dungeon master. So generally I've written an arc and created a world, and then players explore it.
I personally would love to play playground games again, like skipping rope or tag. Go to the park. You have a local park next to you, I'm sure. Bring some friends maybe, because don't go alone. Doing these hobbies is a good way to spend your free time where you would just be scrolling on your phone, and at the same time it will feel very nostalgic. There are no laws about what you want to be passionate about or what you enjoy doing in your spare time. There's no one's choice but yours. I know a guy that collected rocks. Okay, it was me. I still do it on occasion. But it's normal for people to not want to share their hobbies with others because they might get made fun of. I saw a couple of these videos about this girl that likes to go to lakes and collect frogs and pick up frogs and other amphibians. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what she likes and it's what she's passionate about. But I'm sure she doesn't bring it up in conversations in real life because she'll probably get looked at like she definitely doesn't say that to people just to avoid being judged, even though it's what she likes. If you really think about it, when was the last time you saw a kite? I can't remember the last time I saw a kite. I don't even remember what a kite looks like. Wait, that's insane to think about. When is the last time I saw a kite? No, I was just in the library the other day and I saw a guy dressed as Mr. Bean knitting. Okay, he was dressed as Mr. Bean, which is a bit odd, but he was knitting and he looked like he was having the time of his life. So unbothered, just focusing on his knitting, just sitting there knitting. Don't know why he has to do it in the library. Like, that's such a cool hobby to have, but bro, do it at home. There are hobbies like collecting empty cans from the streets or dumpster diving. Wait, I grow mush. Whoa, okay. Creating crafts with cat hair. I mean, does it have to be cat hair? Could it be rabbit hair? Or will that make it weird? Okay, then that's enough of the niche hobbies. Who do you think will make more of an interesting conversation? The guy that scrolls on his phone all day and watches Netflix, or the cat hair guy? I mean, not the cat hair guy. I mean, the totally normal person that just so happens to collect cat hair in his spare time. There are people that would call the more niche hobbies weird or lame or childish, which is why people just stick with the go-to answers like movie or TV shows or music. What your hobby is immediately gives everyone an impression of you, which can be wrong in most cases. Like those big, scary, angry men in Tangled that look so scary, you would never even speak to them, but then when they start singing about what they love, it's singing, art, piano, collecting stuff. If you watch Tangled, you would understand. You probably have. Which reminds me, Disney adults, they may be weird, and if you go Disneyland, you might just see grown-up millennials everywhere, but it's what they like. So what's a hobby supposed to consist of? Because Hinge is not a hobby. And yes, someone actually told me that their hobby is Hinge, which is more draining, if anything, because a hobby is meant to be fulfilling. I'm pretty sure Hinge tells you whether your potential match takes drugs or doesn't, so that's not a good start. A hobby is meant to fuel you and make you feel more enthusiastic, and it may feel like Netflix is doing that for you or scrolling on your phone, but really it's doing the opposite and draining all your energy. It's just consumption and nothing else. It's good to get a hobby in your 20s and have something to do with your spare time that actually makes you feel good. That reminds me of a quote from Benjamin Franklin. Most men die at 25, but are only buried at 75. I googled that like 10 minutes ago. I don't know why I'm outside. I think I felt like the words would mean so much more if I'm actually out and doing something productive, like standing here in this field.